is this supposed to be?
It's the thing that comes for your kids when you're not paying attention.
Dad, you have to listen to me.
Okay. I'm listening. Sweetheart, let me handle it.
At the beginning of the movie, we see Annie sleeping in her bedroom. Just then someone opens her closet door and a manly voice calls her name. Annie wakes up and thinks it's her daddy, but a eerie growl scares her and causes her to start crying. The closet door then opens and an evil presence moves closer to her saying it's her daddy. Just as she starts to scream, we hear a crunch and see a shot of blood splatter on a nearby photograph. We then see Sadie, who is upset as her mother Cara has recently died in a car accident. She lives with her little sister Sawyer and their therapist father Will. Will is getting ready to drop his kids off at school when he sees Sadie dressed in her mother's dress, and he says it looks nice on her. When she gets to school, she meets with her friend Bethany, who welcomes her back. Sadie thanks her for talking to her as everyone else is just staring at her like she has some kind of disease. Natalie then comes there with some other girls and says she thinks it's not a good idea to wear her mom's dress as it seems like it might make it harder to move on. Sadie calls her a bitch for her bullshit, leading to Natalie shoving her and spilling rotten food all over her dress. Meanwhile, a disturbed man named Lester Billings visits Will and says he needs to talk to him. Will says he doesn't see anyone without an initial phone consultation, but he says if he doesn't tell somebody, he doesn't know what he is gonna do. Will agrees and listens to Lester's story, and as he sits, we see him looking at the closet, and he asks him if can he shut the door. Lester then tells him that he killed his kids, one at a time, and he came to him cause he thought that he might understand, as he saw the story about his wife in the paper. Will asks him what was he saying about his children, to which he tells him that his baby girl died from SIDS, and his next 2 kids died within a year of the first, one right after the other. Will ask him from natural causes, to which he says nothing natural about it. It sucked the life right of them. Even if the first one was an accident, it still made them susceptible. He doesn't know what exactly it was, but he only glimpsed it once, before Annie's neck broke. Before they died, he thought it was just their imaginations getting the better of them, and his oldest did try drawing it for him. Will checks it and asks him what is this supposed to be, to which he says it's the thing that comes for their kids when they are not paying attention. Will gets disturbed and says he needs to use the restroom, to which Lester gets up with him and asks him does he believes him. Will says he does, and then leaves there saying he will be right back. Outside, he calls the police and tells them that he has a man in his office who might be dangerous. Meanwhile, we see that Sadie has come home to change but Will didn't know about it. She puts her dress in the washing machine, and we see Lester watching her from a distance, but she doesn't notice him. She then hears some noise and begins going towards the stairs, when suddenly her foot falls on the blood due to which she gets spooked and falls, but it turns out to be painting colors coming out of her mother's art studio. She goes in and gets shocked to see that her mother's studio is trashed. Her family painting was also destroyed, and when she bent down to check it, she hears some thumping and muffled chatter from inside the closet. She walks towards the closet in fear, but when she enters, she sees no one there. However, we see Lester's body hanging in the door. Only then Will comes there and asks her if she is okay, and before he could tell her about Lester, they both get terrified seeing him hanging on the door. Later that night, Sawyer tries to sleep but is spooked by her closet door opening hard, and then an entity crawls under her bed. When she looks under the bed, she sees a monstrous figure growling at her, causing her to fall out of her bed and hit her lip. Meanwhile, we see Sadie watching a video about how to contact the dead. She tries to do it, but only then Sawyer comes there and tells her that there is something in her room. Sadie says she was just having a nightmare, but when she goes to her, she finds that she is bleeding. She then goes to her room and tries to take out her tooth that wasn't coming out on its own. She says she is going to count to 3, and then slam the door, but it slams on its own causing the tooth to come out and they get spooked seeing this. Sadie hugs her seeing that she is crying and hums to calm her down. The next day, the Harpers visit another therapist, Dr. Weller, to discuss their grief and trouble moving on. Sawyer mentions seeing a dark thing, to which Weller says that when there are scary things they don't understand, their minds try to fill in the blanks, but they are going to work on that together. She then tries an experiment where Sadie and Sawyer are in a dark room with a red light on. She says this light is gonna be completely solid, and then gradually it's going to start flashing, slowly bringing the room down till it is totally dark, so she can see that there is nothing to be afraid of. The light then starts turning on and off, due to which Sawyer begins getting scared, and after a while, she gets spooked to see that entity crawling on the ceiling and screams as it comes right in front of her. The lights turn on and the doctor tells her that it was only her imagination, but they find that she has wet her pants. Later, Will apologizes to them, saying he should have never let that man in their house. Now that night, Sadie goes to Sawyer's room to check if she is doing okay and tells her that it's all just in her head. However, when she comes out of her blanket, she finds no one there and the door of her closet is open, and then someone knocks on her door. She comes out to check and the bulb of Sadie's room explodes, and only then the demon says it's not real. Meanwhile, Sadie listens to a recording from the session between Will and Lester, and during this, she finds a notepad under a sofa in Will's office and notices that one of the pages has been torn out. Here Sawyer hears a female voice humming a song, but only then a demonic voice calls her name. She rolls her nightlight down the hall, and after a while, she hears it get stomped. The monster then appears behind her and her broken light hits her foot. Here Sadie scribbles over a page with a pencil, and gets spooked to see the same monster that has been haunting her sister. She then picks up the recorder and hears Lissel apologizing to his kids for not believing them. He then screams to get away from her, due to which she gets terrified. Later, the light of the kitchen explodes and she sees liquid filling in it, and then she gets a glimpse of that monster watching her from the darkness. However, when she opens the fridge door, it disappears from there. Only then does Sawyer come there and accuse Sadie of trying to scare her, but she gets scared seeing that sketch on that notepad, and when Sadie asks her is this the thing that she has been seeing, she says yes. The next day at school, Sadie asks Bethany to give her a ride to the Billings home, but it looks abandoned, with garbage everywhere. Sadie enters the house but finds no one there, so she writes her number on the fridge. Now while she's going back, a light in the house begins flickering. She goes in and fixes the light and then finds that the walls of the house are covered with strange roots-like things. She goes upstairs following it and sees that the entire hallway is filled with candles, and she also finds some photos on the wall there. She then hears some noise from a closet, and as she opens the door, a Polaroid camera clicks her picture, and as the photo develops, she sees someone behind her. Only then did Rita ask her if this was some kind of dare, to which she tells her that her husband Lester came to see her dad. She then shows that drawing and asks her what it is, but she crushes it and says she should pray to God she never finds one, and asks her to get out of there before she gets herself hurt. Sadie tells her that her sister saw it, to which she tells her it goes after the hurt and the vulnerable, follows you wherever you go, until you are all gone, and her children called it the Boogeyman. It likes to play with its food, scare them to death, and it can even talk like them, and it needs the dark to stay hidden. She then sees the Boogeyman and asks Sadie not to move as it's right behind her. Rita fires her rifle, forcing Sadie to run back to Bethany's car. Sadie goes back home and gets annoyed with Sawyer talking about the Boogeyman. She shuts the door and hears a knocking. But when she goes to tell Sawyer off again, the door breaks open, and something appears to force its way down Sadie's throat. She wakes up in her bed as if it was a nightmare, but she coughs profusely. She walks out of her room hearing some noises, and when Sawyer also comes out, she signals her to stay in her room. She goes into her mother's room to check and finds that it's empty, and only then Will comes out holding a box of Kara's belongings. She asks him what is he doing, to which he tells her that it's not a good idea for them to keep her stuff lying around. Sadie gets upset about it and says he doesn't even give a shit about Mom anymore, to which he says she doesn't even know how he feels. He realizes his mistake and apologizes to her and leaves there saying keep what she wants and take it down to the basement for him. She takes the box downstairs and finds other old belongings, like her mom's lighter, and a video camera featuring a clip of Kara and Sadie when she was a baby. She then tries to contact her mother's spirit using her lighter, and only then she hears her mother's voice saying she has a terrible voice. She goes to that side to check and finds her mom standing in the darkness, but as she turns on the light, she disappears from there. The next day, Sadie invites Bethany, plus Natalie, and two other girls, Cassidy and Ann, to her house to hang out, but they get bored after a while until Sadie tells them she has actual drugs. She takes out a box that she found in her mom's belongings, and then they smoke a joint. Beth passes the joint to Sadie, but as she takes a puff, she starts coughing too hard. She goes into her room and pulls out what seems to be a string and gets shocked to see that it's the same string that she used to pull Sawyer's tooth. Only then does Bethany come to help her, but Natalie makes things worse by recording her on her mom's camera and asks her if can she show them the closet where the man hanged himself. She brings them there and tells them that he was right around the back of the door and finds those root-like things on the walls there. Suddenly Natalie shuts the door and tells her that it's called exposure therapy. As she tries to get out, the Boogeyman haunts her, and then she hears her mom's voice saying she has a terrible voice. It then appears again and begins moving towards her, but the girl opens the door. Sadie comes out and they ask her if she is okay, but Natalie says she is just being dramatic. Sadie slaps her for this, but Bethany tells her that they were trying to open the door but it would not, to which Sadie shoves her saying she is such a liar, and the girls leave the house telling Will that his daughter is psychotic. Meanwhile, Sawyer is playing PlayStation when she notices the boogeyman crawling around, due to which she gets scared and tries to hide. It then comes near the couch looking for her and then leaves there. Sawyer feels that she is safe now, so she gets up and sits on the couch, but only then it appears above the TV and jumps on her as she tries to flee, and then throws her against the TV. Later, she suddenly wakes up in the hospital, where Sadie tries to calm her down and Sawyer tells her that it tried to kill her, to which Sadie says she knows and that she believes her. She then gets a call from Rita, who tells her that she found a way to get rid of it, and for that, she needs her help. During this, Sadie notices her dad sitting alone in a room. So she goes to him and asks him what he is doing. He tells her that they bought car here after the car accident. And now Sawyer, he blames himself for this, saying that he didn't do enough to help her process it, so now she is having these manifestations. Sadie says they are not manifestations but real. She saw something tonight in the closet, but it was really dark in there. Will asks her where she hid, because he could smell weed on her, to which she says never mind and leaves there saying he never listened to her. She then visits Rita, who tells her that if it's a weakness it's drawn to, then they have got to show its strength. She asks her to watch her step, as she has installed spring-loaded firing pins. Sadie asks her if she thinks she can kill it. She attacks Sadie and uses her as bait to lure the boogeyman out. However, she tells her that she won't let anything happen to her, and then she turns off the lights. Sure enough, boogeyman emerges, and as he enters the room, the candles there begin to blow out. Now as he jumps, one of Rita's trap fire shotguns at his face, due to which he faints and falls down. Rita comes out to check and shoots him again, and says she told him it could be killed, but only then it attacks her and rips her in half. Sadie frees herself and tries to escape while the boogeyman chases her, and manages to get out of the house. She then gets a call from Will, who tells her that they just got back. Sadie tells him just go back to the car and go somewhere bright with lots of people, but meanwhile, Will enters the house and Sawyer sees the boogeyman there. The boogeyman pulls them in, and Sadie runs towards the house to help them. She returns home and manages to find Sawyer and asks her where is Dad, to which she tells her that it took him down there. Sadie says they are not going to lose him too, and then tells her that she saw it bleed so it can be hurt, and maybe they can stop it. She then goes to the basement to find Will, but Sawyer follows her and refuses to be left alone upstairs. Soon after, they find the boogeyman who held their father. He drops him and jumps on them to attack them, and then he disappears into the darkness. It then again attacks them, causing Sawyer to get unconscious, and then he jumps on Sadie. It then opens its mouth and begins sucking her life, but Will gets up and attacks him to save Sadie's life. Boogeyman throws him away, and when Sawyer runs to him, the Christmas lights get unplugged. Her dad gives her car's lighter, and when they try to leave there, the boogeyman appears in front of them, and as he jumps on them, Sawyer uses the hairspray, causing it to fall away. Sadie then tries to burn it with the fire, but soon after the spray runs out. Sawyer douses the boogeyman with lighter fluid, and Sadie throws her lighter at him, setting the monster on fire before it spreads through the whole house. The boogeyman crumbles to ashes as the Harpers flee the burning house. The family returns to Dr. Weller, looking to move forward from their trauma together. Just as they start to leave, Sadie hears Dr. Weller calling her to come back inside, but when she goes there, she finds that she is not in her office. Sadie then hears the closet door opening and starts to cautiously approach it before Dr. Weller comes back. Sadie then simply shuts the door, and the movie ends here. Thanks for joining us on our horror movie recap adventure. If you enjoyed the chills, subscribing would mean a lot. Drop a comment to share your thoughts and keep the terror alive. Stay spooky and see you soon.